Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the regular open meeting of Osoyoos Town Council, Monday, November the 20th, 2017, at 2 p.m. in Council Chambers. So we will have the adoption of some minutes first. That would be the Committee of the Whole minutes on November the 6th, 2017, and the regular open minutes of 2017. Could we please? Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Youngberg, all in favor? Thank you very much. Business arising from, sorry, do I have to say that the minutes were adopted? We're okay with that? Okay. Business arising from prior minutes, there's nothing in there. Introduction of late items. We have two checks that we're going to provide from the grant and aid process, and that will be included in delegations. Delegations 1. All in favor of adding that to the agenda and having, thank you. Sorry, motion 2 over here. Youngberg, Rhodes, all in favor. Yeah, 3 and 4. Thanks. Okay. So we've got, everything is done. The agenda's adopted. We got that good. Okay, first up we have some delegation, and we have 2 people here to accept checks. And that's an easy thing to do, isn't it? We have Vic Brown from the Senior Slow Pitch and Sue Whitaker from the Arts Council. So we will let Councillor King and Councillor Campbell do that.
Is there elephants in here? What was that?
I haven't had lunch yet.
Okay, for the Osoyoos and District Arts Council, we've got a check for you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Did you have something you wanted to say?
I did want to say something.
That's for your new windows, Sue.
Yes, I know. Okay. So I just wanted to say thank you to very much for your acceptance of my Windows replacement proposal and this check. And we have GP Construction on, let me see. We have GP Construction on side, and I'll be meeting with Greg Mitchell tomorrow going forward with this project right away. And please let me say that your town crew have been wonderful to work with in getting the heating system going properly in that building. We not only have leaky windows, we have an old system, right? But they're bleeding, they're doing all kinds of stuff. And thank you very much, because I know in the end it's all because of you.
Well, we're always happy to hear that, so yes. Thank you very much.
So we're going to be a lot warmer in there.
Good.
Okay. And you're going to have much better stats for your energy conservation problem.
That's what we need. Okay. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And to Osoyoos Senior Slow Pitch.
Thank you. This will be great because now we won't be sitting out in the sun in 90-degree weather.
That's why we move here.
Oh, I know. That's what I keep telling people. I complain. I said, what part of desert don't you understand?
Well, congratulations, and thank you very much to our 2 councillors for doing that. So next on our agenda is the Water Districts 8 and 9 financial accounts. And this is to report on expenditures from accounts payable for water councillors and council approval. And the requirements to November the 20th, 2017 are in the amount of $6,273.17. So we need a motion, please. Councillor Ray, that you, option number 1, that you approve this. And Councillor Moreira, number 2. All in favor. Thank you very much. Next is the Okanagan Basin Water Board highlights. And I had one thing highlighted here. I was at the meeting. I'd just like to point out, with our regular meetings, we have them once a month, that there are 2,000, Mr. Dinwiddie, there are 2018 water project grants available. And I think that was sent, so we figured that you would be interested in that. So it would be priorities include drought and flood preparedness, mapping, water quality, and source protection. Those are the main things that we have for this time, but there is money provided by the OBWB for North Okanagan, Central Okanagan, and the South Okanagan. So if there's something, please apply. And I just wanted to point out that the river film, which was supported by the International Joint Commission, OBWB, and the U.S. Geological Service, has been very highly recommended to people. It was here in Osoyoos at our IJC annual meeting, plus it was at the Oliver Theatre one night, well attended by people, and it should be made available for classrooms and for various community groups all around the country, but they're just trying to figure out a distribution system at this point, because the fellow who put it together from Kelowna just wants to make sure that he gets it all organized properly. So it's a great film if you ever see it. Somebody suggested at the IJC when I was in Ottawa that it may be up for an Academy Award. We're thinking that might be a little more than we bargained for, but it's a good thing to see because it's the Okanagan from Penticton all the way down to the Zozul Dam and even further, and the effects that water has on fisheries, on orcharding, on recreation throughout the season. So it's a good thing to look at. And of course we have the Don't Move a Muscle campaign, which is looking at trying to prevent mussels from coming into our country. We don't want them. They're already in eastern Canada, they're in some of the states, and we're trying to do everything possible to keep them out of British Columbia. So if you see that at docks and in the papers and on signs, that's what it means, the zebra quagga mussels. Okay, so do we need a motion to accept that? Thank you very much. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Campbell, all in favor? Thank you. Next is a report on the inflatable water park. This is report number 7, I believe. And so, Ms. Huang.
All right, thank you.
You going to give us that? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So after receiving inquiries from business operators interested in establishing an inflatable water park in Osoyoos over the past year, Council directed Planning and Development Services staff to undertake a community survey on 2 shortlisted locations, and then proceeded with a request for proposals for the Legion Beach site. As part of the RFP, the town received 1 proposal from Okanagan Whibbits. During the April 3rd, 2017 regular open meeting, Council resolved to direct staff to accept the offer for a site visit with Riley Gallagher from Okanagan Whibbits to Legion Beach to gain appreciation of how the inflatable water park will fit in with the site and to ask any questions, and to direct staff to set up a public drop-in meeting on the Whibbit proposal. However, following the site visit and subsequent discussions over the recent months, Okanagan Whibbits wishes to propose an alternative site to accommodate the proposed water park. The purpose of this report is to provide Council with more information and to request direction on how the town should proceed. The attached change of location proposal from Okanagan Whibbits identifies certain concerns that the operator has with the Legion Beach location, and these include those associated with business operations, parking, accessibility, and impact on the surrounding neighborhood. After evaluating alternative locations at Cottonwood Park, Lions Park, and the north and south ends of Gyro Park, Okanagan Whibbit determined that North Gyro Park is the most viable for the following reasons. In terms of Cottonwood Park, the site is close to resorts and public facilities. However, the water park structure would need to be sited beyond lake zoning and town boundaries due to the shallow water depths, which generates permitting issues and boat traffic concerns. With respect to Lions Park, There are adequate water depths. However, there are potential traffic and parking concerns due to a one-way street near a residential area. In terms of the south end of Gyro Park, it is a family picnic area with resorts in close proximity. Siting the water park in front of town-owned lands means that the water park structure would need to be placed at the southernmost end of the swim area. However, there are boat traffic and water depth concerns. And in terms of the north end of Gyro Park, there are adequate water depths with nearby amenities and parking. In terms of location, Okanagan WBBT is proposing to site the water park structure and swim markers to the northeast of the town's proposed Gyro Park Pier and Walkway project. And this is shown on page 3 of the proposal. And the water park would be located approximately 50 feet or 15 meters away from the shore. Space would also be required for 4 to 5 48 by 40 by 31-inch life jacket storage bins, similar to the ones shown in the image in the report, as well as a 10-foot by 10-foot or a 3 by 3 meter temporary registration kiosk. The bins and the kiosk are proposed to be placed at the southeast corner of Gyro Park's main grassed area. Consideration should also be given to various factors in terms of locating the proposed water park at the North Gyro Park location, including the ones that I'll go through below. So in terms of the proposed Gyro Park Pier and Walkway project, patrons would need to access the proposed water park on the other side of the future raised walkway. The water park would also need to be sited in such a way that the various vantage points from both the pier and the walkway are not adversely impacted. With respect to foreshore and lake zoning bylaw amendments, in relation to the previous point, the proposed water park would need to be positioned across the W1 public water use and the W4 commercial moorage zones. Therefore, in addition to adding an inflatable water park as a site-specific permitted use under the W4 zone in the town's foreshore and lake zoning bylaw, rezoning a portion of the lease area from W1 to W4 would be required. In terms of parking and traffic, although some visitors may walk to the water park location since it is centrally located, visitors who travel by vehicle would likely have to use the Gyro Park parking lot. And for the Cherry Fiesta fireworks, the proposed site is in close proximity to the location of where the fireworks take place. Okanagan WBBT noted that they would temporarily relocate the proposed water park during the fireworks. And so options before council include option number 1. Council considers North Gyro Park as a potential location for the establishment of an inflatable water park and requests that Okanagan WBBT present its proposal at a public open house. Option number 2, council requests additional information before proceeding further. Option number 3, council does not consider the establishment of an inflatable water park any further. And option number 4, council recommends any other action deemed appropriate. And staff requests council direction and position on whether the town should consider the proposed establishment of an inflatable water park at the North Gyro Park location. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And there's been a lot of work done on this issue, and thank you for dealing with this in report number 7. One of the concerns that I had, and I'll just ask this question quickly, is if the storage bins at for the life jackets and so on that are mentioned are right where the beer garden sets up on July the 1st. Are those? I know that the water park, there was a mention that it could be moved because you don't want ashes and all that kind of stuff all over it. Is it possible, number 2 and number 3 on that map right there, is it possible to have those moved as well during July the 1st, or are they easily movable? That's what I'd like to know. Is there anybody who can answer that question?
Perhaps, yeah,
Yes.
Okanagan WBBT, they are present here, so perhaps they can speak to council
Okay.
If that's
so
okay?
If that's one of the things, when you, did you want them to give to speak? I know. Would you like them to speak to the issue?
Sure,
before we take a vote on this? Would Randy or Riley, would one of you like to come and speak into the microphone? Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, hello, Mayor and Council. In regards to moving the registration office and the life jackets, easily movable.
Okay.
Yeah, so the structure itself will be temporary in nature, where we can remove it whenever requested. Now, the location there was suggested just because that way we are out of the walkway for the July 1st fireworks and beer gardens. Our main objective is to integrate our amenity with existing amenities, so we want to make sure that things go smoothly as they can, and whatever is requested. Absolutely.
Sir, thank you. So there are other events that go down there, into Gyro Park, like the Cactus Jalopies car show, which uses all of that. So if that was the case, that could be adjusted as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's all did anyone else have a question?
Well, that was my same question,
Okay.
actually. They could go on the other side of the power box, I think, for July 1st. Jalopies, I have no idea where you go, because they take all the space.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
I have two, if it's okay.
Go ahead.
First, I wanted to address Councillor Rhodes, if that's okay, as being a long time standing on the Waterfront Steering Committee. As far as any projects, future projects, and the plans moving forward, do you see any challenges with this location?
Well, thank you for that question. Now, this proposed change is part of the process that we've been working through for some time. It was one of the things that we had discussed kind of behind the scenes, and it's kind of moved forward to this. I don't have any issues, and I really can't see any interference with any of the development down there. Certainly the development that would take place down there in the future would be very considerate of everybody that would be involved in it, but I think our plans have been made very obvious to everybody, and this certainly, there's no permanent structures being put up or anything
Right.
like that, so any barriers that are put up, I'm sure we can knock them down pretty easy in the future.
Thank you. Having heard that, I'd like to move that Council considers North Gyro Park as a potential location for the establishment of an inflatable water park, and request that Okanagan WBB present its proposal at a public open house at a time and place to be determined.
Thank you. You're seconding that motion? Would you go ahead?
I just one
Councillor
question.
Kane?
Dylan, on page 6, there's a big blue line. I guess that's under the water. Is that electrical or sewer or water?
Sir, the blue line that is,
Right under their proposed location on page 6. There, right there behind you.
Yeah, I can elaborate on that if you like.
Oh,
Either way.
sure, that's actually the delineation of the approximate location of the boundary between the W1 and the W4 water zones.
Oh, okay.
So,
That's
yeah,
just
so the portion
hypothetical line.
to the
Okay.
west is
I thought
W1,
it was
and
something
then,
under the water.
no.
Okay, thank
No.
you.
okay. So, anything else? So the motion is for
Can I just
option.
can I just
Sorry,
ask
go
a
ahead,
question?
please.
Yes. On your diagram here, you've got a blue and a green on page 6. Is that where you initially proposed it? And then now you're considering moving it over? Is that the difference?
That's correct, yeah. So
Okay.
where the green would be within that commercially zoned water law. So if it was there, it would reduce the work involved to rezone it. The blue would be the location sitting to try to not disrupt any potential future
Okay,
developments within here.
but you're not set on this location. If even down the road of council, if we had to move it further north even, I'm just, looking at potential options, so that when they go to the public information, if people say, well, is that where it's going to be? This is not a firm site. This is just a proposal at this particular point in time. And then based on feedback, it may move north. I can't see it moving south, but it could move north.
And Gyro Park is in the process of going through changes down there. It's a long-range process, so that's why maybe that we wanted to be able to have a little bit of flexibility there if need be.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we can, yeah.
And when we zone the area, it's going to be a little bit more broad as well, so we would be able to move the park if needed down the road.
Okay.
So I guess that's just,
Is
I
that-
guess
yeah.
to Mr. Rominka's comment, I guess on page 3 compared to page 6, there's quite a difference of the location. So do you work with the town and the provincial government to put this through so we know kind of pretty well within a few feet exactly where it's going to be?
Yeah, exactly. So once we get more into the permitting, we can really in detail assess the lake bed in that area. It's going to depend on exact depth. Sometimes we have large ledges. It's just really situational or subjective to the area. So once we go through, we can determine an exact position, but that's going to be worked closely with council as well.
Good. Okay.
So just one more, can I just add?
Yeah, sure.
That means if you went through the process and per se we kind of like this location and we go forward, but you end up wanting to be where the green is, do we have an opportunity to come back and discuss that again, or is it kind of set in stone if we pass it now?
No, I wouldn't see, you're not passing the location. All you're doing is saying that you'll consider, you're considering gyro as a potential site.
Okay, thank you.
And going to a public meeting,
That's
so
right.
that will get some more input.
Okay, perfect.
Did you have something else, Councillor Rhodes?
I always hate asking questions when I know the answer to it already. Excuse me.
That's what takes so long.
Wondering about how that's anchored on the lake bottom. I've been asked this question several times. I even had one resident comment that he had two 350 Chevy engines in his backyard, and he was wondering if you guys wanted them for anchors.
Absolutely not.
Good answer.
So I think it's a relevant question. I get asked
Yeah.
quite often about how it's anchored and how it becomes mobile when you have to move it and that kind of thing.
It's a good question. What we typically do is use cement blocks, otherwise used for retaining walls. There's two options. There's a 2-foot squared block that we can use, or one that would be 5 feet in length, 2.5 feet in width, and 15 inches high. We use that in areas like Peachland where we need something that's more low profile. But what we have now that we could use as well is it's almost like an augering anchored system. So what it is, it'd be essentially a screw going into the lake bed instead of a large cement block. So it does reduce the lake sediment disruption, and that way they are easily removed and transferred if need be. So that's something that we would like to go forward with. It'd be a new anchoring system for us. But they've been used a lot in ocean settings, so they don't disrupt the reef and whatnot. It's been proven and used for about 4 or 5 years with these parks around the world, and then we have the opportunity to install it in Osoyoos, so we'd like to try that.
Okay. Okay, so we've moved and seconded option 1. All in favor? Thank you very much. So are you planning to set up a public meeting soon or in the spring, or did you have that in the works yet?
So we wanted to get through this meeting first. We would want to schedule one as soon as possible.
Okay.
What eats into our timeline would be the rezoning and permitting. So the sooner we can get moving on that end of things, then we can secure our opening dates for this summer.
Okay, but you need to go through the public hearing first.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Okay, so you deal with
Well,
Ms.
we
Wong?
will. We will
Okay.
work with the
Perfect.
Okanagan with it to
Thank
set
you
up a
very
time.
much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, our next is the West Bench Ball Diamonds and Dog Park. Sorry, did you?
Yeah, I'd like to recuse myself.
Okay, thank you. So Dog Park Development, and that would be, I believe, Mr. Davis.
No, I'm.
Oh! It's you. Oh, yeah, we've got several people on here. Gee, okay, go ahead. Mr. Romanko.
We all have a little piece of the
I
action.
can see that.
So background, that's more like history. This has been a while now. Council received a presentation from the Osoyoos Minor Ball Association for the additional ball diamond to accommodate the playing fields needed for a growing ball program. One of the recommendations was to return the West Bench ball diamond back to its original use as a ball diamond. This recommendation was met with resistance from current dog park users. At the October 16, 2017 meeting, Council, the administration's report recommended the following action: for Council to reconfigure the existing dog park back to a shale infield ball diamond as a single-purpose ball facility, install fencing at Kinsman to have a second off-leash dog park, reconfigure the old BMX track area outside the West Bench ball diamonds as a new dog park, and have dog owners use the area around the dog park as a dog park until the BMX is repurposed into an off-leash area. As a result of that recommendation, the following motions were passed: that Council repurpose the existing dog park to a minor ball field, and that the BMX track be repurposed to a dog park. And the second motion was that Council directed staff to bring a report to Council to turn a portion of the Kinsman Park into an off-leash park into a 2018 budget process. So we started the budgeting process and got some cost estimates and felt it was appropriate to bring these cost estimates back to Council prior to the budgeting process. Attached are the estimates that will facilitate the earlier recommendation from the administration and directions from Council. A summary analysis of each estimate is provided below. Project A, a Bantam-sized field and dog park development on BMX area. The cost for that was estimated at $292,000. This project was not specifically requested by the Minor Ball Association on this site. However, administration thought it in the best interest of the community to cost the development as a long-term solution to the association's program and the local slow pitch program as well. This project has the field turned to enable the development of a bantam-sized playing field that can be used for midget play if a heightened fence is provided. The project drawing also illustrates the development of a level and slope fenced area for the dog park and development of additional parking. This area will be totally irrigated with recycled water. Project B, existing ball diamond with dog park development on BMX area, $150,200. This estimate includes rounding off the fence in the center, placing the shale in the needed areas of the ball infield, moving the gazebo to a new site, developing a fenced area, fenced level and slope dog park, an entire area irrigated with recycled water. The costs associated with changes to the ball diamond are approximately $26,200. The costs associated with the development of the dog park are approximately $124,000. Project C, the Kinsman Park dog park development, two options, a $13,300 option or a $6,000 option. The project has two options. The attached cost option has a fence between the current playground area and playing field. The project also has an expanded fenced area added to the south end of the playground. In discussions with the Ministry of Transportation, they were open to the idea of the town and the area taking this area of the highway easement into a playground area. Currently, we are cutting the grass in this area, and it's not used for anything. This option enables a greater playing area to compensate for the removal of the play area at the north end. The second option would not have the expanded play area and would consist of only the fence delimiting the dog park area and the playground. This project cost is estimated at $6,000. Project D, Kinsman Dog Park Development and Shale West End Bench Infield. That's $31,000 and $44,000. The administration was surprised at the overall cost of developing the BMX area into a dog park. Therefore, the administration proposes a Project D, which is a basic project that would see the development of an off-leash area at the Kinsman Park and the development of an infield at the West Bench Ball Diamond. The Kinsman Park Dog Park would either be the $6,000 or the $13,000 option, and the West Bench Shale infield would be $25,000. The ball diamond options have been discussed with the Ball Association. Although project option A would meet their long-term needs, they are sensitive to the cost to the community. Project option B would meet the immediate need for ball diamond space. The administration is currently constructing the 2018 budget and is looking for a council decision on the project that will go into the budget deliberations. This is not a budget item approval, but a placement of the preferred option into the budget process. In terms of implications from the community, administration and council are both looking to meet the program needs of the dog park users and the association in a financially responsible manner. Developing both a dedicated dog park and on the West Bench and the Ball Diamond will enable both user groups to enjoy their activities in the coveted area. Providing option A will meet the association and Slopewitch users' long-term needs and the needs of dog park users to have a facility on the West Bench. Providing project option B will meet the short-term needs of the association and the needs of the dog park users. Implementing project C has the potential to provide a single-fence dog park instead of the dog park on the West Bench, or expand the dog park services to a second off-leash area. Implementing option D is the most cost-effective method of providing an off-leash dog park area and enabling the association to have the requested playing field. However, the dog park activity would be moved to the Kinsman Park field. Organizationally, just the time associated with working with the user groups and project implementation. Budget, there is a significant difference in the costs on project A and option A and option B. However, the long-term results are different for both projects. Town sources of funding for these projects may be a combination of Community Works Fund, grants and aid, sewer funds, reserves, and current year fiscal capital funding. It is estimated as much as $150,000 of Community Works Fund may be used for this project. However, Community Works funds have been targeted in the 5-year capital plan for storm sewer projects in 2018 and 2019. Tax-based sources of revenue may have be found to replace the Community Works Fund that have been targeted for stormwater works, for storm sewer works, or used in implementing the identified project. Administration will have to review a list of planned 2018 projects to ensure Council's direction that one of these project options are completed. Additional sources of revenue may be a contribution from the association fundraising and or the association making a grant and aid application in 2018. Dog park users may also be approached to develop an association that will work towards fundraising for their desired West Bench project. Significant dates, administration is looking for a decision at this meeting so that the needed budget figure can be worked into the budget process. In terms of options, 7 options are provided for Council. Council approves project option A as identified above into the budget discussions. Option 2, Council approves option B as identified above. Number 3, Council approves option A and C as identified above to be placed in the budget discussions. 4, Council approves option B and C as identified to be placed in the budget discussions. 5, Council recommends option D be placed into the budget discussions. 6, Council denies placing option C as identified above to be placed in the budget discussions. And 7, Council approves none of the options as identified above to be placed in the budget discussions. The recommendation, at this point in time, the administration recommends option 2, project B, be placed into the budget process. This recommendation is made in recognition that the use of Community Works funds may make the more expensive option A achievable and enabling the community in the long-term capital needs. However, the impacts on the 2018 budget would be very significant. The immediate injection of a capital project of this magnitude into our 5-year capital plans requires significant reprioritization of funds. The long-term needs of a bantam-sized ball diamond will have to be developed on another site. At this time, the administration also recommends option 6. There is no identified need to expand off-leash areas, and any funding allocated to the option C would take away from priority projects.
Thank you.
There's a lot of options out there.
Holy smokes. All I can say. This became quite a a complicated issue, all of these. As you were reading through this, Mr. Rumenko, it occurred to me at the last meeting, I believe it was, that Councillor Rhodes suggested that if the BMX track was turned into a dog park, that there might be some community involvement in that. I'm thinking work parties, volunteer labor. Is that what I recall you saying? Would that have any bearing on the amount of money that could be allocated, or is is that an issue or not?
I think the difficulty is there has to be a significant amount of leveling done, and again, these estimates are estimates based on what we feel needs to be, what earth needs to be moved around, and actually my understanding is that some has to be hauled away. But some cuts, some savings may be able to be found. For example, in there's an amount for topsoil. Again, we may be able to use some of our compost from down at the landfill for this particular project that would assist in cutting that particular cost. This is a kind of a pure cost. Mm-hmm. In terms of labor parties, I don't know where it could fit in, but certainly funding always helps.
Can I ask, the Community Works Fund grant, do we already have that, or would that be a matter of applying for that?
That's money we have already. It's an annual amount that we get that can be used for various projects. Okay. And historically, we've applied it to storm sewer works. Now we're moving off of that and saying, there are other projects that can be used for, one of them being park development, which we would see this as a park development.
Okay, thank you. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll recommend option number 2. Council approves project option B as identified above to be placed into the budget discussions.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for that? All right. Councillor Youngberg. Thank you. Is there anyone else, anybody who would like to speak to this? Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Well, I'll be kind of short and sweet. I support this motion. I'm glad to see it go into the budget process. Mm-hmm. I do have to admit I am forever shocked at the cost of doing anything in our community, not only our community, but all communities. It's just mind-boggling sometimes. Both of these projects, speaking about the dog park development and the baseball diamond reconversion, are important amenities in our community. I think they're valuable. They will be well used. I have total confidence in that. And, the money is always shocking, but I think it's a process that we can move forward with. If we run into obstacles with the CWF funding, the Community Works Fund, there's always other things that we can do. That those amounts might be able to be phased through a multi-year project or something like that. But certainly, I think it's a valuable asset and amenity in our community, and worthwhile moving forward with it.
Good, thank you. And I do think that the more involvement we can get from community groups and individuals who might like to help, the better, if that's at all possible. But I know it's not, you can't count on that in the bottom line. So the motion is that we go with option B, option 2, which is project option B, and it be placed into budget discussions. All in favor? Thank you very much. That's carried. Okay, next is the Mr. Davis.
Can you just wait for Councillor Campo to come back?
Oh, of course. Did Jim go and get him?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know where he is. He went 3 hours today. He was a good boy.
No, he had lunch.
I know, from 10 this morning till 1.
We know where you were. Okay, the next is the terms of reference for a West Bench Dog Park Committee. Maybe my question on the last one will be answered on this one, will it? Mr. Davis, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A terms of reference should be established to receive public input into the development of the new dog park at the West Bench. Council has provided direction to develop the old BMX track into a dog park and will be addressing the issue in an earlier part of the agenda. Administration has acquired quotes and brought them forward to this meeting of Council. There will be value added to have dog users assist in planning of the total park facility. A terms of reference will help coordinate this project and provide direct input from the users. As per the draft terms of reference, this committee will meet once a month and will help fast-track this project. In terms of implications for the community, a terms of reference will provide an opportunity for the public to be part of the development of dog park from the start. Organizational, staff will be responsible for the administration and guidance of the committee. Significant dates. In order for this project to be in place for 2018, we will work diligently to move it forward. And sustainability, green space enhancement, and the opportunity to increase effluent water distribution. The options: number 1, for Council to approve the draft terms of reference and appoint a member of Council to be part of this committee. Option 2, for Council to make changes to the draft terms of reference and approve. Also to appoint a member of Council to be part of the committee. Option 3, for Council to direct staff to make changes to the draft terms of reference and bring back to Council for approval at a later date. Or option 4, for Council not to approve the draft terms of reference at this time, and staff is recommending option 1. If Council approves the draft terms of reference, staff will advertise to get members of the public appointed.
Thank you. Council, what would you like to do with this?
Well, I think it's a good idea, so I would move option number 1.
I'd second that.
Option number 1, that they draft terms of reference and then get members of the public at some point to be on this. Okay. We also, it's a member of Council to be part of this. Does that need to be a separate issue? It does. Okay. So we'll approve the fact that we approve a draft TOR first, and then the second option, the second motion. Okay. So that was Councillor Campbell. Councillor Rhodes, did you want to speak to that first? Yes.
Who would develop the terms of reference?
I would develop the terms of reference, and then they would actually be brought forward.
Okay.
And,
prior to the committee working on it, or?
Yeah, it would probably be looked at by Barry as well.
Okay.
Okay, so that'll be done. And you wanted a member of Council to be on this to help with the terms of reference, or just to be on the committee?
Well, I think not to draft the terms of reference, because the terms of reference will be brought to Council as a whole. But certainly it can be bounced off the member of Council.
So is there a member of Council, Councillor Youngberg?
I'd like to make a motion that Councillor Rhodes act on behalf of Council on this committee, if that's possible, and if he would agree.
Still need to finish the first one.
We need to vote on the first one. Thank you, Councillor Rhodes. All in favor of option 1? Thank you. Good. Now, the second motion, that Councillor Rhodes be nominated as the member of Council on this committee. Do you accept that?
I'll second that.
You're seconding that? Are we okay with that? All in favor? So you've had two committees today, one big one and now another one. You're okay with that?
Sure.
Okay, good. Okay. Is that we all agreed on that, so we're okay with that one? We're done. You don't want to vote on that? No, it has nothing to do with water. Next is the age-friendly grant program. That would be Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Staff has applied for a grant through the UBCM to offset the costs associated with the town becoming certified as an age-friendly community. As outlined in the program guide, a council resolution must indicate support by the local government for the proposed project, as well as their willingness to provide overall grant management. The Age-Friendly British Columbia program suggests the first step in becoming an age-friendly community is the creation of a committee dedicated to this initiative. In 2013, Council passed a resolution and directed the Community Services Advisory Committee to oversee this program as part of their mandate. In order to optimize success and sustainability, a coordinated approach between local government, citizens, service providers, and community organizations to make the community age-friendly would be necessary. There are 5 additional steps identified by Age-Friendly BC. The second step would be to pass a resolution indicating council support for the initiative. After that, the committee would create an age-friendly assessment, which would include public input. The final steps are to develop and publish an action plan, implement the action plan, and monitor the age-friendly progress. This will be optimized through the Community Services Advisory Committee. At this time, staff has received a proposal to complete these steps and get the town in position to become certified. Once we have completed these steps, we will apply to become certified. Once we are certified as an age-friendly community, we will be eligible to apply for grants to address items identified in the action plan. In terms of implications for the community, taking action and identifying the needs of our citizens to lead an active and healthy lifestyle. Organizational, staff will be part of the process and be involved directly with the consultant and with the committee. We'll also monitor all expenditures. The budget will be $20,000. Significant dates, ASAP, and sustainability. Fulfilling the needs of our senior citizens, become more involved in the age-friendly process by identifying and creating a more realistic barrier-free community. The options before council: number 1, for council to support the proposal to become certified as an age-friendly community and provide overall grant management for this project through the UBCM grant opportunity. Option 2, for council to defer this program. Option 3, for council not to support this program at this time. And option number 1 is recommended. This item has been in our business plan for a number of years. Taking these steps to become an age-certified community is very proactive and will help address current issues that will assist our aging population.
Thank you very much. Can I just go back? It says at this time staff has received a proposal to complete these steps. So in other words, we already have something in place that is going to, just to move forward on this?
We actually have a proposal from the consultant.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. That's fine. Thank you. And I see that, was it Karamias that just got certified?
I think so, yes.
Yes, recently. Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Madam Recordoff. Having been part of the meeting with the new Minister of Health and hearing the statistics of our own community in regards to the provincial average, I can't think of a reason why we wouldn't go forward with this. So I would like to move option number 1. Thank you.
Councillor Rhodes is seconding that motion. Is there anyone else that would like to just... Does this mean that I get the fitness equipment on the beach pretty quick? It seems to me when I first got on council, I said that was one of my pushes to get the outdoor fitness equipment.
That could be one of the ones identified, yes.
Good.
And accessibility.
Yeah,
That's
for
right
sure,
into this as
for
well.
sure.
Yep.
Okay, so option number 1 has been moved and seconded. All in favor? Thank you very much. Ms. Van Vienen, acting mayor appointments.
Thank you. Under the council procedure bylaw and community charter, council is required to appoint an acting mayor. In the past, the acting mayor has been appointed on a month-to-month rotating basis beginning in December with the inaugural meeting. Acting mayor appointments must be made by resolution. A recommended 2017-18 schedule is included in the options. Implications to the community, leadership provided in the mayor's absence, no organizational or budget implications, sustainability, continuity in leadership. Options: 1, that the following acting mayor appointments be made for 2017-18. For December, Councillor Rhodes; January, Councillor King; February, Councillor Campbell; March, Councillor Youngberg; April, Councillor Rhodes; May, Councillor Campbell; June, Councillor King; July, Councillor Youngberg; August, Councillor Rhodes; September, Councillor King; October, Councillor Campbell; and November, Councillor Youngberg. And November would only be a short term until the new council is sworn in, as it is an election year. And that, number 2, that the acting mayor appointments for 2017-18 be as follows, and then council make changes as required.
And so you're recommending option 1.
Unless one of them cannot make it to the date that we've got them set.
But at some point during the year, if we absolutely need to make a change, then we could bring it back and
That's correct,
deal with
yes.
that. Okay. Councillor Rhodes.
I'll move option 1. I won't read full.
Okay. Thank
text
you.
that's there.
Councillor King is seconding that. All in favor? Thank you very much. Next is the council meeting schedule.
I think you didn't read out the whole motion.
No, we're not doing that again. Okay, Ms. Van Vienen.
Okay, Section 127 of the Community Charter requires that a schedule of the date, time, and place of all regular meetings to be held during the year be prepared and made available to the public. In addition, notice of the availability of the schedule must be published annually in the manner required for giving notice, which is posted on the notice boards in the town office and printed in 2 editions of the local newspaper. The Community Charter does not establish a specific date for preparing the schedule. However, it is recommended that it be done prior to year end. The first meeting in 2018 would be Tuesday, January 2nd. Since the office is closed between Christmas and New Year's, there is not likely to be any business ready for discussion at this meeting, and therefore it is being recommended that it be cancelled. Historically, Council has also cancelled 1 meeting in August. It is being recommended that since the first meeting in August will fall on the BC Day stat, that the meeting would be held on Tuesday, August 7th, and that the August 7th meeting be cancelled. Section 3 of the Council Procedure Bylaw 1271 states that regular council meetings for the town shall be held on the first and third Monday of each month, unless the Monday is a holiday, in which case the regular council meeting shall be held on the next day that is not a holiday. If council wishes to cancel the January 2nd and August 7th council meetings, a resolution is required. Implications to the community, clear schedule on council meeting dates. There is no organizational or budget implications, and sustainability, regular scheduled meetings. Options: 1, that the January 2nd and August 7th regular council meetings be cancelled, 2018 regular council meetings be cancelled, and that the 2018 regular council meeting schedule be approved. 2, that the January 2nd regular council meeting be cancelled and that the 2018 regular council meeting schedule be approved. Or 3, that no meetings be cancelled in 2018 and that the council schedule be approved with no cancellations of council meetings. And staff recommend option 1.
Councillor Youngberg.
I would like to make that motion, and we would choose option number 1. If it can be worded that way.
Councillor Campbell is seconding that. That's what we've commonly done, so it's not a departure.
Right.
Did you want to speak to that? Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Well, once again, for the second time in this meeting today, I'm going to ask a question I know the answer to, but we've followed this pattern of canceling these 2 meeting dates for many, many years now. Do you have any memories of any issues coming up because of those cancellations, or any negative or pushback of any kind?
I haven't. If we've had issues that have had to be dealt with urgently, you can always schedule, or the mayor can call a special open meeting with 24-hour notice. And other than that, I don't know. We have extra business on the next meeting, I guess. I don't know of any other concerns.
When I was looking back through the minutes, what was I looking for? Something about Jack Shaw. And before they were done on a computer, they were handwritten in books, which we have in the vault. And one of the things that I noticed was that both meetings in the month of July were canceled. I don't know how they did it, but I thought, wasn't that surprising that you would cancel 2 meetings at once? So that was, maybe it was they were busy with farm work, or I don't know what it was. I just thought that was interesting. So I'm not sure how long it's been, the January and the August meetings, but it wasn't always this way. Okay, thank you very much. Did we vote on that?
No, not yet.
Okay, all in favor? Thank you, that's good. Okay, next is the appointment to the RDOS board and the ORL board.
Thank you.
Ms. Van Vienen, too?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Council must appoint a representative as well as an alternate to the Regional District of Okanagan Similkameen Board and the Okanagan Regional Library Board. Both the RDOS Board and ORLB require representation from the town of Osoyoos. In the case that the appointed representative is unable to attend, an alternate must also be appointed to attend in their place. Both board appointments require a resolution of council. Recommended resolutions are attached with council required to fill in the names of those to be appointed. Implications to the community, representation of taxpayers' interests on the boards, no organizational implications, budget, it's covered under expenses, sustainability, a voice on decisions that could impact Osoyoos. Options, number one, and we didn't do actual options, it's recommendations because council needs to fill in the names of who they would like to represent. So the resolution for RDOS should be that the mayor or council, and fill in those blanks, and then ORLB, so two separate motions.
Right, okay. So for the first motion, this would be the regional district. Thank you, Councillor Campbell.
I'd like to move that Mayor McCordoff be appointed to the regional district of the Okanagan Smoking Board with Councillor Rhodes as the alternate.
Second.
You're seconding that? Mm-hmm. Any concerns? Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. And yes, go ahead. The library board.
Yeah, I'd like to move.
Yourself.
I'd like to move that Councillor Youngberg be appointed to the Okanagan Regional Library Board with Councillor King as the alternate. I still don't have a library card.
Second.
He got in there quickly before you could say something. I know. Councillor King, are you agreeable to that?
I think it would actually be better if Councillor Campbell stayed where he was for the previous year.
The concern is he doesn't have a library card. However,
where is the library?
We could sort that out very quickly. So just a minute. We have it moved and seconded that it be Councillor Youngberg and Councillor King. Right?
You've got to vote on it. Yeah.
So all in favor? Against? Could somebody make another motion, please?
I saw that coming.
Have you ever been to one of the meetings in 3 years? No, he hasn't, so we're not worrying about him. So, Councillor King, would you like to make a motion, please?
Yeah, that Councillor Youngberg be appointed to the Okanagan Regional Library Board and Councillor Campbell as their alternate.
I'll second that.
Did that ever backfire or what?
All in favor? Good, that's done. Thank you. Next is Canal Path Lighting Installation, Mr. Dinwiddie.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. During the construction of the Canal Pathway, street light pole bases were installed, but the lights themselves were not. This contract is for the installation of the first section of decorative street lights between 62nd and 74th Avenues along the Canal Pathway Trail. This section of pathway is frequently utilized by students traveling to and from the Osoyoos Secondary School. The addition of lighting should help to alleviate any safety concerns users of the pathway may have. The town of Osoyoos has already purchased the new decorative street light poles and LED lights for this project at a cost of $52,394 without taxes, and anticipate the delivery at the operational services yards by November 17th. We currently have the LED light heads in stock, but we're still waiting on the poles. We're hoping that they'll be here by the end of the week. The overview of the project. This project comprises the following: assembly, transport, and installation of 17 decorative walkway light standards complete with luminaries, or LEDs, supply and installation of electrical kiosks, related wiring, electrical, and commissioning. The project numbers are listed in the report for you. The implications for the community are improved pedestrian safety along the canal pathway between 62nd and 74th Avenues. Organizationally, we have no concerns at this time. Budget, as outlined in the above project overview section, this project is predicted to cost $24,701.79 under the budgeted amount for this project, so 22.5%. In order for the contractor to begin work immediately, Town Council should award this contract as soon as possible. The new LED sustainability, the new LED walkway lights will use less energy than traditional high-pressure sodium lighting. The options before Town Council are that Town Council award BYLAWS Electric Limited the contract for 2017 Canal Pathway Lighting installation for $29,103.33, taxes and contingency sum included. Option number 2 is that Town Council award the contract for 2017 Canal Pathway Lighting installation to one of the other contractors who submitted bids. Option number 3 is that council request additional information prior to making a decision. The recommendation of administration is that town council adopt option number 1.
Thank you. So we had a budget of $110,000 on this, including the two things were coming in at $25,000 under budget.
Pretty much.
Well done. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. This report has two components that I'm really in favor of. A local business first. Secondly, under budget. So I'm very happy to move option number 1.
You're seconding that? Did you have a question? Go ahead,
Thank you, Mayor.
Councillor
Just
King.
clarity, if the poles come in, these will go up right away?
Yeah, the way the contract is worded is that when the poles and the light heads are in stock, are on site, the contractor who gets the award, hopefully BYLAWS Electric, has 30 days to install them and light them up.
Oh, perfect. Okay, thank you.
So, like I said, we have the heads, we just don't have the poles. The poles should be here this week.
Good work.
Perfect.
But you paid for the polls, they're just not
Yes.
here. That's it.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
got it. All right, so it's been moved and seconded that we go with option number 1, that award it to BYLAWS Electric. All in favor? Thank you very much. That's
Great.
done. And now we have Mr. Dinwiddie again. This is the contract award for the design and installation of the new welcome signs for the town of Osoyoos.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. At the November 6, 2017 regular Town Council meeting, Town Council formed a committee comprised of 2 representatives each of Town Council and Destination Osoyoos to select the new design for the Town of Osoyoos welcome signs. The Town of Osoyoos received 7 proposals for this project with a total of 9 different design options. The costs of these options range from $54,824.70 to $212,486.87. After careful consideration, the selection committee has decided to award this contract to Landmark Sign for a price of $146,276 plus taxes. The implications for the community are dramatic improvement to the signage welcoming visitors to our community, organizationally reduction in the maintenance for the welcome signs to the community. Budget-wise, the price of the Landmark sign proposal falls in the mid-range of the proposals received. Funding for this project will come from resort municipality funding and capital reserves. In order for the contractor to begin work immediately, the Town Council should award this contract as soon as possible in 2017. And sustainability, we have no concerns at this time. The options before Council are the Town Council award the RFP for new welcome signs to Landmark Signs for $146,276 plus taxes. Option number 2 is that Town Council award the RFP for new welcome signs to one of the other proposals submitted to the Town of Osoyoos for this project. And option number 3 is that Council requests additional information prior to making a decision. Administration recommends that Council adopt option number 1. And I believe copies of the new and improved signs are attached.
Yes. Thank you very much. I wasn't on the committee, but I thank you and Councillor King and Councillor Youngberg and DO representatives for looking at this. I like the new design. I think it's simple, it's clear, and just to point out to people who are listening, this does not just mean building the signs and handing them to us.
Yep.
It means taking out the old signs, disposing of them,
Yep.
and putting these signs in where they are asked to go. My assumption is that that a couple of the sites have been changed. Am I correct?
The one on the north end of town will be moved closer to town. It's
Yes.
a little too far out right now, so we'll move that to the town boundaries on the north edge of town.
What about the one on the east?
The one on the east we're proposing that says in basically the same location. However, the sign manufacturer has come, since this report was written, he has come to town, he has looked at that site. It may require a little tweaking, but I think it's still in the same general area.
Okay, because it's quite a far out of town as well, sort of at the top of the hill.
It is, but the
Yeah.
viewpoint is lovely up there,
Yeah.
and people like to stop, you take a picture, it looks down the valley, the signs in the picture, it would be nice. So they may have to tweak that a little bit, but it's in the same general area.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. I feel like I'm channeling CJ Rhodes on this one, but massive amount of money. Can someone explain to me, we talked about the RMI and reserves. How is that broken down? Is there an idea of how that would be broken down? What would be coming out of reserves and what would be coming out of the RMI?
It's mainly RMI money. Right now, we've got $150,000 in the RMI under the whole signage program, so we could take it all out of there if we wanted to, but I don't know that we will, because we want to do some other signage projects, so we've left that to our finance director to bring out a number.
So we're looking at general reserves? Is that what we'd be?
Yes, just our general reserves, our operating reserves, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
My question. Director Dinwiddie, did we decide on the two O's joining on See You Soon?
I believe so.
Give us
yeah.
two different options there. So did we take the O's joining or not joining?
I believe we took the O's joining is what we've asked for.
Okay.
The committee asked for some clarification on the design, and we've asked the landmark signs for that clarification. I believe they were going with the linking O's in See You Soon, and they're going to tweak the colors. They'll have that report to us by tomorrow. Unfortunately, they couldn't have it today, but.
Oh, good. Okay, just.
But I think they were
wondering
going
where
with
we
the
were at
linking
there.
O's. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I believe we need to have the two O's joining, don't we? Because that's our logo, Canada's warmest welcome.
And we're talking about the soon on the backside.
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely Mayor Sue on the Osoyoos.
On Osoyoos, you know, it's like here. This
Yeah, but we're
is.
talking about that word soon
Yeah,
on
but
the
we're
back.
talking about
On the back of the sign?
On the
Soon-
back side of
oh.
the sign.
Sorry, I didn't see that.
The back
And you're
side.
looking.
On
If
page
you-
one of the sign, the first page.
When you're looking at the back side of the
See
sign,
you
it'll.
soon. Sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
even see that. I saw that and I didn't notice.
And there was
Okay.
discussion between them joining or not joining, and so I
Oh.
was just reminding myself.
Yeah, I think we were going with the linking O's
Yeah,
for
okay.
See You Soon.
Oh, okay. If that's,
Yep, looks good.
are we okay with that?
Colors will be specific to our branding.
Yes.
ballot.
Yeah, if you're looking at the sign, the large blue section is it's not our color, it's a little too dark. So that section will now change to the color that's in the YOOS, that'll be the blue, and the
Okay.
letters themselves will be white,
All right.
according to our branding.
Okay. Councillor King.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll recommend option number 1. The town council award RFP to the new welcome signs to landmark signs for $146,276 plus taxes.
No, second.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. The wording in option number 1 is very definitive that we're awarding this. Will we receive any financial stuff? Does it have to survive our budget, or are we just moving forward with it?
It's in this year's business plan.
So it would,
Moving
we would
forward.
just move forward with it, yeah.
2017 budget.
Okay.
It's not in the 2018 budget, it's in this year's.
Okay.
We've been pushing this for a while.
Yes.
We've been pushing this, yes. We have.
Would it be possible, just an ask, to get what the final breakdown is between RMI funding and general revenue?
Sure. I'll ask.
Not that I have any concerns, it's more of a
Director Zach.
general interest thing, and I think it would be good, valuable information to have.
You want that before you make the decision?
I'm definitely interested. I mean, I'm only one of 5 people sitting here, but
Is Mr. Zackel here? We can ask him.
suddenly it gets very quiet in here.
We were told it was on like that.
That's what I thought too. I thought it was open.
Yeah. I don't know.
So it was very nice that we had 9 different proposals for this, so
Yeah, there was
obviously
quite a bit of
people were
interest. Like I said, 7 people bid, and 9 different proposals.
Paying
Quite a range
attention, yeah.
in what the proposals were. So.
Is he coming? He is coming. Good, thank you.
And the moving of the one on the north end should not pose too much of a problem, but I think where it is now is it's too far out of town.
Too far out, definitely.
It
So
would be
it's
better
kind
if-
of, yeah,
It would kind of be where what used to be that restaurant is on the highway, just past the Husky station. That is the town boundary, so that's kind of where the sign
Okay.
would go. on the highway right-of-way, so
Yep.
the highways has no problem with us putting the sign there. So.
Okay.
The picture actually shows a block north of where you're talking.
Could be, yeah.
So somewhere in
Somewhere in that
That's
area.
great.
Yeah.
No, I think it looks very nice.
Are these signs lighted?
Yes.
They are.
The words, the Osoyoos will be backlit, so they with LED lights,
Good.
so they glow.
So thank you for coming, Mr. Zackel. You saw that we have that the $146,000 for the landmark signs could some of the money could come out of resort municipality, and some out of. Okay, I'll let Mr.
Yep, sorry.
No,
I was just
yep.
confirming the number.
And so I'm just wondering if you have any suggestions. Councillor Rhodes asked how much would come out of resort municipality, how much out of our regular funds?
So we were looking at it, and Barry and I were also looking at what our remaining resort municipality funding was. What I was bringing forward for council for the budget session in December was funding the entire amount through the RMI funding. So we do have
Which would
enough
eat
funding.
up all that we have in that fund right now for signage,
For signage,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
rather than using some money from another area.
Yeah, from our general reserves, which we could utilize for other infrastructure projects.
Have we voted on any motion yet?
No. Councillor Rhodes, would you like to comment on that?
Before we voted,
Friendly
So I was under the impression that it was all coming out of RMI funding. I do have fairly vivid memories of wanting to use some of that funding for other signage in our community, and that, can we use the other source of money for signage as well? I'm not exactly sure what, because CAO Romanko had mentioned prior to you getting here that it was going to be a combination of the two.
Of capital
Well, we
reserves.
still have other RMI monies available for other signage. We have 150,000 identified in RMI for signage, but we have other RMI monies that we can, like, those numbers aren't, definite. They're not. They're only guidelines.
Okay.
So we have other RMI monies remaining that can be put towards signage program.
I should explain why I'm questioning it. I'm concerned about the impact to taxation, and the RMI funding certainly lessens that opportunity for us. Am I correct in?
No, it doesn't. Well, basically, yes, utilizing RMI funding instead of our reserves or general taxation definitely saves the taxpayers money.
Yeah.
So utilizing our RMI money is the best approach for us for these projects that qualify, definitely.
And this is a project that would be sanctioned by RMI. We're not going to have any issues with that?
No, there's been several RMI communities that have used their monies for town signage.
Okay. All right.
I just have
So,
go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
I just want clarity. This money's already in our kitty, right? This is 217 money we have to spend.
Yes.
Nothing
We have-
moving forward with the budget or anything.
No.
Okay. Thank you.
So option 1 doesn't specify, it just says that we award the to landmark signs.
Can I suggest a friendly amendment?
Where are we out on this? We had it moved and seconded?
Yeah, we
Okay.
haven't voted.
Go ahead. What would you?
That the funds for the project come out of the RMI.
Would that be acceptable to put that in there?
I would say so.
Okay. So who
Jim
made the motion?
Jim made the motion.
Oh, Jim.
Jim, you made the motion. Are you okay with
Yeah, I
that, Jim?
accept that,
Who
for sure.
seconded it?
I did.
For
Okay.
sure.
Are you okay with that too?
Yeah.
Councillor Youngberg? So it's option number 1, but saying that the funds would come out of RMI funding. Okay. All in favor? Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Zackel. The next issue is homelessness, and that would be Ms. Van Vienen.
Thank you. At the November 6, 2017 Committee of the Whole meeting, Council heard a presentation from Brenda DeRoche and Gail Horn on the issue of homelessness in Osoyoos, and in particular, one homeless man. Council directed staff to bring back a report to the November 20th, 2017 regular open meeting. As a matter of privacy to be afforded to the homeless man in question, the specifics of his case will be dealt with in a closed meeting under the Freedom of Information to protect his privacy. The current town parks and community facilities bylaw does allow for homeless to camp in the park as follows. Temporary overnight shelter. A, notwithstanding subsection 7B of this bylaw, subsection 8BI applies. A homeless person must not place, secure, erect, use, or maintain in place in a park a structure, improvement, or overhead shelter, including a tent, lean-to, or other form of overhead shelter constructed from a tarpaulin, plastic, cardboard, or other rigid or non-rigid materials, subject to subsection 8B2, except between the hours of 7 o'clock p.m. of one day and 7 o'clock a.m. of the next day when daylight savings time is not in effect, and between the hours of 8 o'clock p.m. of one day and 7 o'clock a.m. of the next day when daylight savings time is in effect. At any time at any time in a playground, sports field, footpath, a road within a park, environmentally sensitive area, or any other area within a park that has been designated for an event or activity under a valid and subsisting permit issued under the authority of this bylaw. So in other words, they are allowed to put up a tent as long as it's not in a playground or sports field or in a pathway between the hours of 7 p.m. and 7 a.m., and they have to have it removed at that time, or during daylight savings time between 8 p.m. and 7 a.m. So that's what that section of the bylaw means. The bylaw further gives the town the right to remove any tents or camping equipment found in contravention of the bylaw, with the items being stored for up to 30 days, plus a seizure fee of $35 and storage fee of $2.50 per day being charged to the owner. This fee must be paid before the equipment is returned. This satisfies the requirements set out in the courts in the case of Victoria versus Adams, which was the argument of infringing on the right to life, liberty, and security of the person. We vetted our bylaw through our lawyers, and it was their opinion that our bylaw is reasonable and balanced solution. We also ensured that the language in our bylaw was such that it only allows the homeless, which is defined as a person who has neither a fixed address nor a predictable safe residence to return to on a daily basis, to set up temporary shelter, and not those such as summer transient workers who are not homeless but who have a residence somewhere else. The question remains as to what services the town can provide for the homeless. The town currently does not own any facilities that would be suitable for shelter. As well, a homeless shelter should be manned, and that would require trained resources, as you would not want to have an untrained volunteer dealing with the unknown. This might be better served through a community group that has the resources to secure grant funding to help to support such an endeavor. This is a complex issue in that several factors must be considered, including washroom facilities, whether a structure or just a place to camp is required, need for trained personnel, volunteers, etc. In many communities the size of Osoyoos, this is addressed through the work of local nonprofit groups, which initiates community resources to address the issue. The municipal government is seen as a partner and not a direct service delivery agent. Implications: community, ensuring the homeless are cared for yet are not creating a nuisance issue in a particular area. Organizationally, homeless is a complex issue beyond the scope of staff resources. Therefore, additional resources will have to be sought to fully research this community issue. Budget would be required to have a consultant complete a homeless assessment and recommendations. No significant dates and no sustainability. Options: 1, the council agreed to be a participant in a community-led process to address homelessness in Osoyoos. 2, the council directs staff to research homelessness more in depth and provide further solutions through seeking out a consultant to complete a homeless assessment and recommendations. Or 3, that council not proceed further with this matter. Recommendation: staff recommend option 1. It is important that the groups passionate about the issue be part of seeking a possible solution, whether it be a temporary fix or a permanent fix. Community groups may have better success in obtaining grant funding to assist in finding solutions.
Thank you very much. Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor McCordock. Do we have, I know there's no way to actually track this statistically, I don't think, but do we know what our homeless population in Osoyoos is? Any idea?
I don't have an exact number, no. I know of 2 or 3 that are well-known, but there could be others out there that we're not aware of.
Okay, thank you.
So, council, what is your wish on this? Councillor Rhodes.
Well, you hit the nail right on the head, so to speak, about this being a complex issue. I'm confident that the way that the bylaws are written in our community are in line with the provincial legislation that we have right now. I don't have any issues with it. I have a great deal of empathy for our bylaw people in identifying that word homelessness. That ranks right up there with affordable housing and how you interpret the meaning of those words. But I'd like to move option number 1. I think it covers the need that we have right now, and I feel pretty good about doing that. It's a good way to move forward with it. Once again, I know I ask this question way too often. I would be very interested in the budget implications. I know there's no specific amount in there, but certainly there will have to be some allocation to it, but not necessary at this moment in time. But in future, it would be interesting to know what that's going to cost us.
So you're moving option number 1?
Yes.
Councillor King, were you?
Second that.
You're seconding that?
Can I have a comment?
And you wanted to speak?
Yeah, I guess I just relate to the community-led process. Can you explain that a little bit more to me, how that will happen?
Well, if there's a community group which likes to take on this project, that they could obtain resources through the town here, and we can help them with what we can and cannot do as a municipality, but they would have to lead the charge in finding a location and what's all needed and what kind of volunteers are needed, and get grant funding that might be available through the province or federal governments.
Just a minute. Councillor Youngberg, you were next.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. I just have a few comments to make regarding this motion, of which I'm going to support. I really urge the community, all the interested participants on Facebook and in the media, to participate with us as the town of Osoyoos and help us solve this problem. Since the individual is camped on my property, and I have a large group of people that have indicated how thoughtless some of us are, etc., and I really wish that some of them would show their participation by coming and helping Vince clean up his mess, so that we don't continue to have to do that, and that they urge everyone that supports their position to find a location for him, because the community, I don't believe, is in a position to make that decision. So I would like to see those concerned people help Vince come to the location and clean up after him, just as we have done over the last 35 years.
Thank you. Councillor
Thank you,
Campbell.
Mayor. I'll get to my comment in a second. I just want to be clear that the motion we're discussing here is about homelessness and Osoyoos, and just to be clear, it wasn't about an individual or an individual situation. Having said that, I think part of what I'd like to see out of this, if we're looking at consultants moving forward, is I understand what Councillor Rhodes says, that the idea that our bylaws are in line with others. It doesn't make them realistic or can be perceived as cruel. I mean, when we talk about finding homeless people and holding their belongings till a payment that can never be made gets made, to me those are words in a bylaw that are in no way enforceable and are in no way realistic. It doesn't matter to me that if there's 80 other communities that have the same verbiage in their bylaws, it actually doesn't mean anything to me, because I don't think it's realistic. And I would like to see that become part of the conversation, as if there's issues or concerns in public spaces and how we deal with them, that we approach them in a realistic way and a humane way, because that's not how I read this. But I'm speaking in favor of the motion.
Can I just mention, I do believe the bylaw officer does not automatically fine.
I get that.
The bylaw officer does use some discretion in trying to assist but when it's necessary, that there is a fine imposed. My thinking is. But I certainly agree that that having a committee to look further into this and help address homelessness, which seems to be an ongoing issue in the town more sometimes of the year than others, is a good idea. So, Councillor Youngberg, and then.
And when would this committee start to become a process?
I think, just to jump in
Yep.
here, the recommendation is focused on a community action. So if a group that came forward from the community, maybe several type of agencies, in many communities, it's a kind of an amalgamation of the churches that comes forward and says we want to do something about this, or some other groups that foresee the need. When they come forward to council and say, we've got a group, we'd like to do something, you've addressed this by saying you want to be part of the solution, that's when council would appoint somebody to that particular committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so how would we advertise this, or would it go in the paper and we would just say that we're looking for a group that might wish to?
No, it doesn't say that you're looking for a group.
Yeah.
It's a matter of the group, a community action process. Again, it's focused on the community reacting to what they see a need is, and organizing, and then council becomes, and by extension, the administration becoming part of the process.
We don't have anybody here from any of the news medias today, and that was my.
I'm sure that they will be.
They'll be listening.
Yes.
They can access it on Grand
Good. Okay. Councillor King, did you have something more to say?
I'm good. No, thank you.
Did you, Councillor Rhodes? Go ahead.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. Just addressing concerns about the punitive part of it. We always have to assume that there are going to be people that will misuse this, legitimate homelessness in our community, can take advantage of that park timing thing. Certainly, we will be challenged with individuals that will abuse that and misuse it, and that would be the reason for the punitive part of it and the fines that are involved in it.
Okay, thank you. So we have it moved and seconded that we go with option number 1. Am I correct, Mrs. Hilson? Okay, all in favor of option 1. Thank you. That's carried. Next is Ms. Van Vienen again. This would be Emergency Social Services Grant Funding.
Yes, thank you. The Town of Oliver is sending an application for funding under the Community Emergency Preparedness Fund for emergency social services. Since the Town of Osoyoos is also in need of greatly improving its program, and since both communities have supported each other in ESS services in the past, it may be prudent to apply for a joint grant. The Community Emergency Preparedness Fund provides funding for emergency operations centers and training, emergency social services, evacuation route planning, flood risk assessment mapping and flood mitigation plans, and structural flood mitigation. Staff sent a request to the RDOS asking if they are submitting an application for flood risk assessment and mapping, but have not heard back yet as to whether they have done this. Of all the remaining eligible funding options, the ESS funding would be the most beneficial to the Town of Osoyoos. Currently, there is one emergency social services director for Osoyoos and no trained volunteers for an ESS team. Oliver is in a similar situation. A joint application would include obtaining resources that can meet directly with community businesses to inform them of the ESS program, ascertaining their resource and complete paperwork, and create a supplier list. Continue with volunteer recruitment and provide basic training, Justice Institute of BC training videos, provide opportunities for formal training courses throughout the JIBC, create database of Greater Oliver and Osoyoos businesses, lodging, resources, local authorities that provide services, develop, improve both town web pages that include spaces to sign up to volunteer, access to basic training opportunities, and overall emergency preparedness, development of an emergency notification process through town websites, i.e. Notify Me, and supply purchases, communication, telephones, cots with storage shelving, blankets, and storage bins. In essence, the town of Oliver and Osoyoos, rural areas A and C, and the OIB would all benefit from an improved ESS program. It makes sense to make these improvements jointly with the town of Oliver as we currently continue to support each other with the limited resources we have. A notification app for smartphones has been discussed at various emergency management meetings. These types of apps are ways of notifying people that need to evacuate and provide them with details, and or can also provide a database of those people who need assistance during evacuations, etc. There are options available that would need to be explored. Implications for the community: improved emergency social service program which provides support to those affected by emergencies. Organizationally, provide assistance to Oliver in setting up the terms of reference for the grant fund program. Budget: no direct impact, however there may be some in-kind costs incurred with staff time. Significant dates: the application must be submitted immediately. The next opportunity to apply for this type of funding has not been set yet. Sustainability: continuing to provide an ESS program to the community and improving upon the resources available to the program through training and the acquisition of the required products to provide the services. Options: 1, the council approve the town submitting a joint application with the town of Oliver for the Community Emergency Preparedness Fund for emergency social services to a maximum of $25,000. 2, that the town not submit an application for funding under the Community Emergency Preparedness Fund for emergency social services at this time. Staff recommend option 1. The ESS program has been severely lacking in trained volunteers, supplier lists, etc. for approximately 10 years. This is an opportunity to be able to obtain funding to assist both communities in the improvements of their programs by training more volunteers and seeking out options for notification to residents during emergencies. Now, since this report was written, I have spoken to Oliver again, and they have been advised that there are other communities up and down the valley that are also applying, so us doing it jointly might give us a better chance of getting the funding.
Good.
We're hoping.
They're in agreement with us piggybacking?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. Councillor Campbell?
Thank you. I think anytime we can use this as an example that two municipalities or rural municipalities working together to fill needs or voids that would be more challenging if we acted independently is always a positive thing.
Yep.
So having said that, I'll move that council approve the town submitting a joint application with the town of Oliver for the Community Emergency Preparedness Fund for emergency social services to a maximum of $25,000.
Thank you. Councillor King seconded that. This seems like a good idea. All in favor? Thank you very much. That carried. Next, Ms. Van Vienen, you're busy today. Osoyoos Music in the Park assistance.
Thank you. The Music in the Park group placed a piano in Gyro Park a couple of years ago. It is maintained by the group and is unlocked every morning and locked up every night. A recent report from the Osoyoos Music in the Park group includes a request for assistance from the town by way of either the washroom caretaker or the bylaw officer locking up the piano every night during the summer season. The washroom contractor only works until 5 p.m. and are usually finished their park grounds at 3:30 and start cleaning town facilities. The bylaw officers are not employees of the town and therefore are not covered by the town's liability. If they are to be asked to perform this as part of their service, it is suggested that the Music and Park group should cover the bylaw officers under their liability policy. In speaking with Janice St. Louis regarding the request, she advised that it only takes one person to roll the box to the piano and lock it, but that it is easier for two people to help guide it. On busy nights, the time that the bylaw officer can get to the piano may vary, and therefore they should not be held to a specific time to be able to lock it up. They should not be held liable by the Music in the Park group if the piano is damaged in any way before it is locked up. Implications to the community: none. Organizationally, none. Budget: if the bylaw contractor has to call in a second person to assist on busy nights, this would be a cost of approximately $50. No significant dates, no sustainability issues. Options: 1, that the bylaw contractor be requested to lock up the piano as part of their park closing procedures, and if this requires them to have a second person on duty, that the town absorb this into the bylaw enforcement budget. 2, that the Music in the Park group be advised that we cannot provide them assistance by way of town staff or bylaw officers. 3, that the Music in the Park group be advised that at times when they are unable to secure a volunteer to lock up the piano, the town will provide that assistance through the bylaw officer. However, we do not wish to offer this to be construed as an ongoing service, and that they should make every effort to secure volunteers first, and further that the Music in the Park cover the bylaw officer for any liability as a result of this service. Recommendation: staff recommend option 2. The bylaw enforcement is contracted for the specific purposes of enforcing the town bylaws. Should the Music in the Park group wish to use the bylaw contractor for other purposes, they could approach them and enter into a separate agreement with them.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to say that, the Music in the Park committee does a phenomenal job of volunteering to organize music in the park, put out garbage cans, make sure the lights are on, clean up after, book the events. They do a phenomenal job. They also arrange to have the piano done. They arrange for storage for it in the winter, move it back down there, and they have, last year, a kind of a system where some of them would go down and put the piano out when it wasn't raining. If it was raining, they don't do it, and move it back at night. So it was a group of volunteers that did it. They also had some people who lived at White Sands who very kindly offered to come down a couple nights a week and put it away. So they have made it work. I understand that sometimes there's concerns, but I totally think that this has been a wonderful project that has been supported by volunteers, and I'd like to continue to see it that way.
Yeah.
Councillor Rhodes, then Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Member Kordoff. Well, I'm not sure if I'm disagreeing with you or not. I'd like for us to search for some way of performing this task rather than turning them down. Many years ago, I contacted an individual called Holger Peterson, who is one of the executives of the Edmonton Folk Festival, and at the time they started out, they had approximately 35 people at the first event. Last year, if it wouldn't have been for a minor hurricane that they had, they were anticipating over 100,000 people attending this event. So I wanted his advice on what to do about music in our community and that type of thing, fully expecting a very, very long multi-paragraph essay from him. His suggestion was take baby steps and knock down your barriers as you come to them. And this is part of that process. When you go down to our park and you see those individuals playing that piano down there, I don't care what anybody says, that is a totally positive thing in our community. And since, now that I've ranted about it for a little bit, I would like to know, can we negotiate with our bylaw people for, assistance in this? And if so, what would that cost be? Based on the fact that they could do it with one person. Knowing full well you probably don't have an answer to that question.
Well, currently we pay them $25 an hour. What would happen is the problem is they may be on another call dealing with something else, and if they're on where there's only one bylaw officer on at a time, they may not get to closing that piano off on time, and it could be later in the night. I don't know what implications that has. And if they're dealing with something more severe like a vicious dog or whatnot, they don't want to leave that to go and close up the piano. So that would be where they'd have to call in a second officer, and that's where it'd be about $50 for that, and that would be charged back to the town.
Okay. Councillor Campbell?
Thank you. I was actually going to say the same thing, that I agree with the recommendation for all the reasons you just said, that it would be inconsistent and challenging to have bylaw look after it. But I was going to make the same point as Councillor Rhodes, because whenever I see a community group come forward, spend a lot of their own time, and especially this group, which spends a lot of their time and efforts to add some pretty incredible stuff to our community, and they reach out for help to make that happen, and I never like to go back and say, well, figure it out, or this might require more work on your part. So I'd like us to be part of finding that solution, and I don't know what that solution is right now. Is it helping them look for community volunteers to help out? Is it potentially providing funding to pay somebody to assist with doing this? But I certainly am not in favor of sort of throwing it back in their court and saying, well, that's not going to work, and we don't know what else to do. In fact, I'd like to set it aside, I think, and have us think about some other options, or potentially providing funding so that they may be able to pay somebody to do this. But I certainly want to be part of a solution.
So this will not happen again until June, so we do have a little bit of time to deal with it, because the piano does not come out of storage until when the weather's warm, for sure. When I got thinking about this, I kind of was even thinking about option 3, that they, at times when they're unable to secure a volunteer, that perhaps the bylaw officer be asked, but not as a regular nightly event. I don't know whether there's a bit of a compromise there or not. What do you think?
Jeanette and I talked about that, and again, we're running into the same issues of what's the bylaw officer doing and where is the bylaw officer, and how easy is it to just access the bylaw officer, say we can't find anybody. We can take this back. I don't know. Do we run it? Do we pay for an ad in the paper and ask for volunteers to step forward? Do we look at? We could bring back a proposal to the group to say, okay, make an additional grant and aid request for it, if council will entertain that. There are options. Some of them may cost money. I'm just we're leery about the whole bylaw, especially from the town's perspective. If they want to engage the bylaw business to do this, then they would have to do that on their own. It's not part of the town contract.
Just a minute. Let's have Councillor King first.
And actually, if you read the recommendation, it does talk about the music in the park, maybe talking to bylaws separately if they want to use them as a contract. There's also a security company in town that might have a staff person that could do it. There's other volunteers. I support the idea of putting a paper in to help them with this issue, but I do agree we can't get our bylaw officers involved whatsoever.
I think there could be some targeted approaches here. We've got a high school with students, and I'm not suggesting necessarily it has to be volunteered. It could be a few dollars a night to get a commitment to do it. And I expect this could cost some money to do, and to me, I think it's a worthwhile investment. But we're also having this conversation on Granicus. So if there's companies out there and people out there that think they could help solve this issue from a volunteer perspective, and can reach out to the people, either to the town or to the amigos, and want to step up and be part of a solution there. We tend to solve a lot of issues that way, and there's a lot of community groups out there. I don't think this is a huge task. It's something that could take 15 minutes each evening, and somebody might want to take that on after not knowing that this was a concern or an issue, and having heard it from this meeting, that this may find its own solution.
Yes, I agree with all those comments. I think if we spoke with Music in the Park, the group, they may have some recommendations that they just weren't too sure would come to fruition. But if we could get something in place that would create some consistency for them every Friday night, that would just be awesome, because they sure.
It's not every Friday, it's every night.
It's every night. 7 nights a week.
It's every
It's
night.
just the piano. So whenever the piano's out, it needs to be.
Oh, yes, right. Yeah, right.
Not just
Okay.
Friday night
yeah,
music.
I'm just thinking about the music, sorry.
Yeah.
But, yes, the piano, because I certainly do see a lot of people down there helping. But I think they would feel really much more comfortable if we had a consistent resource helping them. So if you speak with them, maybe they'll come up with something, right?
Well, they're the ones that asked us for help on this, so, yeah. But, it's not every night, too, at the same time. It's not like you say, okay, you have to go at 6 and put this away, because if it's a nice night and something's on down there and people want to continue playing, it was a kind of a haphazard time that they had to put it away and putting it out, depending on the weather, depending on the activities. It never went out on July 1st because it was already too busy down there, you know, that type of thing. So it's a bit of a complicated issue.
Do we need a motion on this, or are we just giving direction to staff?
Yeah.
Nothing yet.
What do you...
Well, you can give
There's
us...
option too.
You can give us, we prefer a resolution, just give us some direction as to what you would like us to do.
Councillor Rhodes?
Thank you, Mayor McCardoff. I'll offer a resolution that is based on providing solutions rather than actually turning them down.
Right. I'll second that.
Does
And
that...
how we wordsmith that, I don't know.
We ask staff to come up with a...
To go back to the group, Music in the Park group, and see if we can work out some options for further consideration.
And we do have some time with this, that's for
Yeah.
sure. Okay, so that was moved and seconded, that we see if we can find a solution to helping them.
Yes.
All in favor? Thank you. Next is the Rural Dividend Fund Application Partnership. Mr. Romanko?
Yes, the Rural Dividend Fund grant is seeking applications for the fourth draw of the program. The focus of this grant is economic development and community economic sustainability. The program has 3 application components with amounts to the maximum of $10,000, $100,000, and $500,000. At the last committee of the whole meeting, the Osoyoos Golf Club provided council with an outline of the club's issues relating to the need to install a new irrigation system on the Park 9-hole course. This project was estimated to have a $1.2 million cost, and the club was seeking council's project support in the amount of $300,000. The request for support was based on the link between the club and the town's need to distribute recycled water to maintain lagoon levels. The town's wastewater distribution system is operationally tied to the club's successful distribution of irrigation water. The club distributes approximately 85% of the town's treated wastewater. The Rural Dividend Grant enables the club to apply for $500,000 to assist with the irrigation project based on its link to economic development contribution of golf activity to the town's overall economy. There may be additional environmental points made because of the use of the water for golf club irrigation prevents the distribution of treated water, sewer water into Osoyoos Lake. In order to receive consideration for the $500,000 grant, there must be a partnership component to the application. The partners don't need to contribute funds. However, the partnership illustrates broader community support. It is proposed that the town, Destination Osoyoos, and the club will partner on this application. Destination Osoyoos will assist by providing economic impact information, the town by illustrating support through providing some matching funds, and the club through contributing the needed information and the remaining funding. This request for funds is coming prior to budget due to the timing of the grant deadline, being a request for decision. Bringing a request for decision to the December 6th meeting would result in a small window of time to develop the grant application. In terms of implications, the community needs a high-performing and reliable irrigation system at the golf club to ensure distribution of recycled water. Organizationally, the CAO will assist with the grant development process. Budget, the club has requested a 1/3 share, which is approximately $300,000. These funds would come out of the sewer reserve account. Significant dates, the grant application must be in by December 15th. Sustainability, the club's irrigation enables the distribution of treated recycled water on club lands, eliminating the need to place the water into the Osoyoos Lake. In terms of options, 4 options are provided. 1, council approves partnering with the Osoyoos Golf Club and providing $300,000 from the sewer reserve account to assist with paying a portion of the installation of a new irrigation system. 2, council denies the partnering with the Osoyoos Golf Club and providing $300,000 from the sewer reserve account to assist with paying a portion of the installation of the new irrigation system. 3, council approves partnering with the Osoyoos Golf Club but denies providing $300,000 from the sewer account to assist with paying a portion of the installation of the new irrigation system. And 4, council requests additional information. In terms of recommendation, the administration recommends option number 1. The club is an important economic driver in the community and an integral part of the treated sewer water distribution system.
Thank you. So when I look back, it sounds like in order to even consider applying for the grant, they have to have a commitment from the town to support the project.
Well,
is that what that means?
They need partners. The club cannot just go and make the application by themselves for the $500,000. They can do it for the $100,000 grant, but not for the $500,000.
So they need not just a letter from us, a financial commitment from us.
The partners do not need to contribute financially, but in this case, again, going back to their request and the tie of the golf club to our irrigation system, I think that it's in good interest of the community that that 1/3 share be considered.
All right. Councillor Rhodes.
Just a quick question about the numbers. When you add the successful application, if they get the $500,000 and you add our $300,000 to it, there's still an enormous shortfall in the amount that's needed. Where would that funding come from?
The golf club would have to show in the budget process that they would be providing the remainder through borrowing or some other form.
Because it's a significant amount, the difference.
400,000.
Yeah, about 450,000, yeah.
They did comment about that on their presentation, that they were aware.
Yeah, I've talked to them, and they're prepared to, again, in the grant application process, there'll be a budget, so they'll have to probably get commitment from their bank relative to ensure that they have that borrowing capacity.
Would that be part of the grant application?
That would have to be part of the grant application.
So you, what I read is that you would assist them with the grant application. They would do it, but they would come to you for advice.
Well, we've already talked to Destination Osoyoos, and we've got a grant writer lined up for this, and that's at a cost of about $1,500 to write the grant for the golf club, and the golf club will be paying that bill.
Okay. Yeah, Councillor Rhodes.
I'll move option 1 then, the recommended option.
Okay. And you're seconding that?
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of money, but you know what? I certainly understand the reasons behind it for sure. So all in favor? Thank you. Next is the town hall assessment. Is that Mr. Romanko?
Yes, with the departure of the fire department and leaking roof issues at the town hall is experiencing, council approved a 2017 budget item to complete a total building assessment. A request for proposals was completed with the prime goal to develop a cost-benefit analysis of maintaining and renovating the existing building versus replacing it with a new building. The proponent is to develop a 10-year capital plan to make improvements to the current building and provide cost estimates to replace the building. The final report is to include a structural, mechanical, building envelope, electrical, hazard material, HVAC, plumbing and accessibility, building code and roof assessments, and determine the feasibility of renovating the old fire hall into administrative space. 7 responses were received to the request for proposals, varying in amounts from $74,975 to $6,445. The main difference in the proposals was a staffing approach that was going to be used to implement the project. The lower-end costing proposals were to employ the use of building assessment technologists, and the mid-range and upper costing projects were using a team of engineers and architects for their on-site assessment. Administration is recommending David Marin Associates to complete the project. A topic of discussion with this proponent was the current condition of the roof. As a result of this discussion, the proponent has recommended a higher detail of roof inspection and report. The additional service is $2,300. In terms of community implications, the town hall is a focal point in the community for administration and civic square-related activities. There is a need to ensure that a safe and comfortable work environment is provided and that the appearance of the building reflects positively on the community. Organizationally, the current building has a leaky roof that has been patched many times by Public Works. Council chambers has insufficient space. Some work areas don't meet building code. Accessibility to the building is poor, and energy savings are limited due to the age of the building. In terms of budget, the budgeted amount was $30,000. The recommended company bid includes GST, which is refunded. Therefore, the bid is actually below budget at $29,884. The $2,300 roof inspection is an additional contractor that will be brought on site. The additional funds will come out of general operating. In terms of significant dates, a council decision on November 20th will enable the project to be completed in and around the end of February. Sustainability, current building is not energy efficient. 4 options are presented to council. Option 1, accept the administration's recommendation to employ David Nair and Associates to complete the building assessment at a price of $31,378, including GST, plus the $2,300 roof assessment. 2, accept the administration's recommendation to employ David Nair and Associates to complete the town assessment at a price of $31,378, including GST, but not the $2,300 roof assessment. Option 3, council identifies another company to complete the town hall assessment. Option 4, council cancels the project and no town hall assessment is completed. In terms of recommendation, the administration is recommending option number 1. The original proposal is within budget and uses a diverse team of professionals to complete the assessment in their specialist areas. Given the issues with the roof, there's a need to have the most comprehensive information to make future decisions. Company references have been checked, and they have received good reviews.
Thank you very much. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess, what do you sort of get for your $2,300 for the roof assessment? I thought they sort of had to tear the whole roof apart to give you an assessment.
Well,
in broad terms.
We're not quite sure.
Well, I guess it's accessibility. One of the things is they will be crawling on the roof and using. I think they're going to use drones as well. But there's also a matter of going in. If they can get into the attic space, they'll go into the attic space to check out those types of elements as well.
Okay, that's.
I love option 2, that we do everything but not the roof assessment. I don't think that's even a consideration, is it?
I think.
So, were you making a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. Number 1.
Okay.
Accept the administration's recommendation.
Are you doing seconding? Anybody else want to speak? Go ahead. Councillor Youngberg?
I just think that it's time we sort of got on with the building and decided exactly how we were going to proceed with making it usable.
I just want to know that between the buildings, there's a slight opportunity or chance that we could slide down a pole into council chambers, because that would be cool.
We used to have a pole. We had a pole in there, didn't we? A fire pole? No. Where is it gone?
No. There's no fire pole gone. There. No.
Okay.
Geez, I thought he was going to ask for a smoking room.
Okay.
Because there's an elevator to take us up to the top of the pole. And gravity coming out.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, all in favor of option 1? Thank you very much. Any notice of motion? No. So we have the general net payroll and the Sun Bowl Arena financial accounts. And this would be the cash requirements to November the 20th. General cash requirements of $315,046.81 and Sun Bowl cash requirements of $609.64. I think that's the lowest amount I've ever seen in that particular area. Those would be approved by consensus, and net payroll accounts of $79,060.68, and that would be for information. Okay. And next is the October bylaw enforcement report. And it's always interesting to look at the files and see what we have. The number of files and the hours spent fairly consistent, although animal seems to be down a little bit, and I'm not sure whether anybody wanted to speak on any of the other issues as well. There's always, our bylaw officer keeps lots of things on the go. Pound issues, some noise, park issues, although park issues are down at this time of the year. And closing washrooms takes some time. Anybody have anything else to add to that? Okay. And the next is the... Sorry, but do I not need to talk about that? Yeah. Yeah, the parks enforcement. That sense is there as well. A little bit more hours on enforcement. I think it's interesting that the number of files for skateboard is up a little bit, and everything else seems to be fairly quiet down there at this time. So anybody else need to comment on that? Okay, so we need a...
Just find it, Mayor Sue, find it interesting. 2 alcohol hours, but 21 nuisance. How do you get nuisance without alcohol, I wonder?
I don't know, but I guess nuisance is all encompassing.
Yeah.
All accompanied, yeah. Okay. So we need to have this report, bylaw report, received. Councillor Campbell, Councillor King, all in favor. Thank you. No committee reports. The CAO report.
Thank you, Mayor McCordoff. Just a few of the activities of the administration in the last couple of weeks, starting first in community services. The town of Osoyoos will be taking part in the Big Bike Ride, a fundraiser for Heart and Stroke Foundations on May 9th at 5 p.m. This should be a great fundraiser for a great cause. So we will be recruiting council for the big bike as well, so just giving you a heads up that you gotta get in shape.
When do we have?
In May. It's in May. So
At least it'll be warmer.
occupational health and safety consultants will be conducting sessions and attending our Occupation Health and Safety monthly meeting. This will be their last visit of the year. Up and coming programs, including there will be a snowshoe trek on December 14th at Mount Baldy, and a Christmas flower wreath program on December 9th. And pickleball is going really good. Walking with Santa is coming fast, an annual family event scheduled for December 16th at 2 o'clock in the Sun Bowl. Corporate Services, the director attended a seminar through Municipal Insurance Association of BC on enterprise risk management and business continuity. Records management manual is nearly completion. Year-end reporting and other year-end items are being worked on, and much work being done in the human resources portfolio. In terms of public works, they installed the new street lights and pole at the end of the bridge, the south end of the bridge, which was taken down on July 1st. Contractor started work to clean up and desludge storage pond number 2 at the sewer lagoons, and they began the installation of the Christmas lights throughout the community. Myself completed interviews, not totally completed, but interviews are being carried out for the Director of Planning and Development. Met with the museum to discuss their leaking roof. Met with the golf course to discuss their irrigation project. We had a labor management meeting, and we had a selection of the Town Hall building assessment, request for proposal, and worked with the Minister of Finance on the first draft of the budget, and that's my report.
Thank you very much. So we need a motion to approve. Thank you. Councillor Rhodes, Councillor Youngberg, all in favor? Thank you. And Councillor reports, Councillor Campbell.
Thank you. I'll be brief. On the 22nd of this month is the grand opening of the Osoyoos Indian Band, their new band office, and as part of that celebration, they've got the Stanley Cup that'll be on site, and Broad Street Bully NHL legend Reggie Leach will be there as well. Because of the trip to the Okanagan, Chief Clarence Louie had reached out to myself and Spirit of the Game Society, as the Cup will be here a day earlier. So the Sonora Center at 8 p.m. on Tuesday evening, tomorrow evening, from 8 till 9 p.m. Reggie Leach and the Stanley Cup will be available for photos, autographs, and hopefully we can see a lot of people out there.
Thank you. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess like most of the town attended Remembrance Day. Again, a major crowd was standing room only. I got to thank all the people that support our vets in the past and the future. Also attended the Economic Development Committee where they finalized their budget and their strategic plan going forward, which was presented this morning. And just to remind everybody about the Christmas parade on December 1st, I hope to see the whole town out there as there's a lot of community events going on. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Youngberg.
Yes, thank you. Not much to report other than that the light up is coming around, as Councillor King has said, and I hope everybody gets out on Main Street and patronizes the local merchants and attends all of the festivities that are planned. That's it.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you, Mayor Kordoff. I'll be brief as well. The Remembrance Day celebration we had this year was nothing short of amazing again, with all of the people. Councillor King mentioned pretty much everything that I wanted to cover, but I would like to thank Brian Holgate for stepping in as kind of the leader and the master of ceremonies, or whatever title you want to put on it. Brian did a good job. Stood up in front of a lot of people in this community and got the message across, and turned out to be really good, and looking forward to a lot of years of him working us through that process again.
Thank you. So from me, I was at the Osoyoos Lake Water Quality Society meeting last week, where Ministry of Environment expert Mike Sokol was there. As you know, the boat goes out on the lake from June, July, August, September, and takes water samples from several areas in Osoyoos Lake, and it's sent to the Ministry of Environment. So the president, Birgit Arnstein, asked if he would come down and explain what happens with all of the information that he sent every week. And he had graphs and all kinds of things. It was quite technical. He obviously knows what he's doing, believe me. And he certainly several times said how much he appreciated the Water Quality Society for doing this, because it doesn't happen in all lakes. So he was very happy with that. I think that there will be something in the paper about this too. So he was very good. I'm going to a regional district meeting this week where Greyhound Canada is coming to present to regional district directors. So I'm hoping to have some information about that, because we did send a letter to Greyhound asking them to keep the service that we had and not reduce it. And most of the towns and municipalities in the regional district did exactly the same thing. I signed a proclamation the other day for Restorative Justice Week, and I think there's articles in the paper about that. It's a way, there are some people here in town and in Penticton, and it's partly through the RCMP, and it's a way of helping people deal with issues rather than just saying you're going to jail. So it's quite a good program. I believe that it's tomorrow night, and I think it's in the evening. There is a something on at the Sonora Center, and I'm sorry, I don't quite remember the time, but I had a feeling that it was the same time as the Stanley Cup was there. So if anybody was interested, they go to both. It should be on our website. And the other thing is that Christmas Light Up, I just want to say a little bit more detail, because it's really a 2-day event. On December the 1st, Friday morning, there is toys for tots and teens. It's a free breakfast at Smitty's from 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock. If anybody would like to go, you could take a unwrapped gift for anybody up to tots to teens, or make a cash donation, and for that you get a free breakfast. On Friday afternoon at 6:30, the Santa Claus Parade will go down Main Street, and many businesses will stay open and offer goodies. The Lloyd Fairweathers Choir is singing in front of Home Hardware. The Rotary are doing hot dogs and cocoa, and the Osoyoos Band, under the leadership, the secondary of Anne Mercelli, will be playing on Main Street as well. That night, I believe there is a hockey game at the arena. The Coyotes are playing. There is also Miss Santa's Night Out, which is a grad fundraiser, and that will be at the Sonora Center. So once you get dressed to go out, you've got several things to attend. On Saturday morning, there will be a breakfast with Santa, and that is at Troy's Grill, and there's pictures with Santa. So that's for anybody who would like to come out and bring their children and have pictures taken. And the Coyotes are serving breakfast there for a while. There's also a craft fair that is put on by the Festival Society, but the Kiwanis help with it, and that is at the Legion from 9 until 3. So lots of things to do. That's it. So lots of things to do on Christmas, which is not this weekend but next weekend. This weekend it's Light Up in Oliver. They always do it a week before us, and the following weekend, December 1st and 2nd, it's in Osoyoos. So please come out and support your community and have fun. And I just want to thank all the Public Works people because they were out today putting up Christmas lights. So appreciate that. So that would be the end of the meeting. And so Councillor Campbell needs to have a quick break. So he has
Health break.
a health break, yeah. Supported a motion to adjourn. Councillor Rhodes, are you seconding that? No. Oh, okay. All right, so we'll get Councillor King too.
I'll oppose it also.
Okay. All in favor of closing the meeting? Thank you. Thank you, Sue, for sitting